Most people don't struggle with money because they lack effort. They struggle because they misunderstand how money actually works. Money doesn't respond to intention. It doesn't care about motivation, pain, or sacrifice. It moves based on structure. Once you understand that, frustration turns into clarity. In the modern world, money flows toward solutions that reduce friction. It flows toward things that save time, remove confusion, reduce risk, or make decisions easier. If what you're doing doesn't reduce friction for someone else, money naturally avoids it. This is uncomfortable to hear, but powerful to understand. Hard work only works in systems where effort is directly rewarded. That world is shrinking fast. Online, effort without direction leads to exhaustion, not income. The market doesn't pay the person who tried the hardest. It pays the person who positioned their effort correctly. That's why two people can work the same hours and live completely different financial lives. Online earning is not about doing more. It's about choosing better arenas. People don't pay because you struggled. They pay because you made something easier for them. Every dollar earned online is tied to relief created. If you want income, stop asking how to make money. Start asking what confusion you can remove. Most people choose the wrong problems to work on. They chase exciting ideas instead of useful ones. But money flows toward boring, repetitive problems that people are tired of dealing with. The internet doesn't reward talent as much as people think. It rewards clarity, consistency, and execution. Many high earners online are not extraordinary. They simply stick longer, learn faster, and adjust quicker. The biggest lie people are told is to follow passion. Passion without demand leads to burnout. The safer path is demand first, competence second, passion later. Your first small income online matters more than your biggest dream, not because of the amount, but because of proof. Proof changes how your brain operates. Most people quit not because it's impossible, because progress is quiet. There's no applause at the beginning. The silence filters people out. Consistency isn't discipline, it's identity. People who earn long-term don't try to build, they see themselves as builders. Income doesn't scale by working longer hours. It scales by repetition, systemization, and removing yourself from the process over time. Information is everywhere. Execution is rare. Consuming more content feels productive, but it doesn't create income. Applying one idea repeatedly does. Money grows faster when emotions are controlled. Most financial mistakes are emotional, not logical. The calm thinker outperforms the intelligent one. Online earning looks short-term, but it's actually a long game. Those who survive eventually win by default. Real wealth is boring from the outside, quiet systems running without attention. Financial freedom isn't luxury, it's control. Control over time, choices, and pressure. People fail because they confuse activity with progress. Busy doesn't mean valuable. The market only reacts to completed value. There's an invisible phase every earner passes through where effort is high and feedback is low. That phase exists to test seriousness. Money doesn't increase when you collect many skills. It increases when you apply one skill deeply in one direction. Competition is proof of demand. Fear of competition keeps people poor. Value online is perceived as speed, clarity, and certainty. Complexity reduces trust. Underpricing comes from fear, not strategy. Low prices attract problems, not freedom. Short-term wins feel good, but teach bad habits. Sustainable income requires structure. Systems outperform talent because systems don't rely on motivation. Workers ask what to do next. Operators ask what to fix permanently. Smart earners reinvest early. They treat money as fuel, not reward.
Patience isn't waiting, it's working without immediate validation. Willpower fails, environment works. Design systems that make progress automatic. Many people sabotage success because it conflicts with their identity. Familiar struggle feels safer than unfamiliar growth. Money doesn't change who you are, it reveals you. Quiet progress is dangerous because it invites doubt. Ignore it. Burnout comes from emotional attachment, not effort. Sustainable income requires boundaries. Side hustles depend on mood. Businesses depend on systems. Financial confidence comes from predictability, not spikes. Assets compound. Reactions fade. Ask yourself daily what creates value even when you're tired. Build that. You will never feel fully ready. Action creates readiness. Money is a consequence, not a target. Focus on process quality. Simple systems make more money than complex ones. Trust compounds faster than intelligence. People overestimate speed and underestimate duration. Duration wins. Income becomes stable when systems replace emotion. Distraction is expensive. Focus is a financial decision. Compounding only appears after consistency. Before that, it looks pointless. Earning is skill. Keeping is discipline. Emotional highs destroy more money than failure. Responsibility creates control. Control creates income. Optionality is real wealth. It removes panic. Stable money feels boring. Boring is safe. The real test isn't how much you earn, it's how you behave when earnings increase. Chasing validation destroys peace. Peace enables focus. Stop asking how fast this will work. Ask how long it can last. No one is coming to save you. No shortcut survives time. But opportunity exists for those who stay rational and patient. You don't need to be exceptional. You need to be consistent longer than others. That is the quiet advantage, and quiet advantages always win. Most people don't realize that financial stress is not caused by lack of income alone. It's caused by unpredictability. When money feels random, the mind stays tense. When money feels structured, the mind relaxes. That's why stable income often feels better than higher income. Stability creates clarity. Clarity improves decisions. Better decisions compound. The biggest mistake people make online is chasing intensity instead of durability. They push hard for short periods, burn out, disappear, then restart from zero. Durability means choosing a pace you can maintain even on bad days. Progress that survives boredom is real progress. Most people secretly believe they'll figure it out later. Later rarely comes. Clarity arrives only after action, not before. When income is low, people focus on tactics. When income grows, people focus on structure. That shift changes everything. Money grows where attention is calm. Panic scatters effort. Calm concentrates it. A common trap is believing more options create freedom. In reality, too many options create paralysis. Clear constraints force progress. High earners simplify aggressively. They remove decisions. They reduce choice. They eliminate noise. This is why minimal systems outperform complex plans. People often underestimate how much mental energy financial stress consumes. Constant worry lowers patience, creativity, and judgment. That's why early income goals should focus on reducing pressure, not maximizing profit. Relief comes before ambition. Another truth people avoid is that not all money is good money. Some income comes with stress, unpredictability, and emotional cost. Over time, those costs exceed the benefits. Sustainable earners are selective. They protect their energy because energy fuels clarity. Online earning is less about hustling and more about positioning yourself where effort multiplies. Effort without leverage traps people in loops. Leverage turns small actions into large outcomes. Leverage comes from systems, skills, and compounding, not shortcuts. Most people delay starting because they want certainty. Certainty only appears after repetition. The first version is always unclear. Clarity comes through iteration. This is why waiting for confidence keeps people stuck. Confidence is built through exposure, not thinking. The internet rewards those who can tolerate uncertainty longer than others. That tolerance is a skill. Another mistake people make is trying to look successful before becoming stable. Appearance consumes resources that should be invested. Real progress is often invisible. When income begins to grow, restraint becomes more important than ambition. Lifestyle inflation kills more progress than failure. Stability should always come before expansion. People often confuse growth with complexity. True growth simplifies.
It removes steps, reduces dependencies, and strengthens foundations. If something only works when everything goes right, it's fragile. Fragile systems break under pressure. Strong systems survive boredom, mistakes, and bad days. The goal isn't to build something impressive. The goal is to build something that keeps working when motivation fades. Money flows toward reliability. Reliability is built through repetition. A powerful shift happens when you stop asking how to make money and start asking how to make money predictable. Predictability reduces stress. Reduced stress improves thinking. Improved thinking increases income. This is how the cycle reverses. Most people sabotage progress by constantly changing direction. Each restart resets momentum. Momentum is where income compounds. Staying longer in one direction often beats choosing the perfect direction. Online earning doesn't require genius. It requires patience, observation, and adjustment. Those traits outperform intelligence over time. You will feel behind at some point. That feeling is normal. It means you're comparing your middle to someone else's highlight. Ignore it. Focus on inputs you control. Time invested, systems built, consistency maintained. The market rewards accumulated effort, not emotional spikes. Eventually, something shifts. Effort begins to echo. Results arrive faster than before. Not because you're lucky, but because momentum is working. Most people quit before this phase. When income becomes more stable, a new responsibility appears: protecting what you've built. Risk management matters more than risk-taking. Long-term earners think defensively. They build buffers. They avoid unnecessary exposure. The goal is not to win fast. The goal is to not lose. Loss resets progress. Financial maturity is learning when not to act. Restraint is a skill. As income stabilizes, thinking expands. Decisions become calmer. Fear loses control. This is what real progress feels like: quiet, steady, grounded. There is no finish line, only better positions. Those who understand this stop chasing and start building. Money stops being the center of life and becomes a tool for choice, a tool for stability, a tool for time. That's when earning online stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like ownership. Ownership of decisions, ownership of direction, ownership of future outcomes. This is what most people actually want: not wealth for show, but control without panic. And it's available to anyone willing to move slowly, think clearly, and stay consistent longer than their emotions want them to. Over time, you start to notice something most people never see. Money is less about intelligence and more about emotional control. The person who reacts less usually earns more. Markets reward patience, not urgency. Urgency creates mistakes. Mistakes create regret. This is why slow thinkers often outperform fast movers. When people first start earning online, they often feel pressure to do everything at once. Multiple ideas, multiple directions, multiple risks. But spreading attention thin weakens results.
Focus strengthens outcomes. One clear path executed repeatedly beats 10 half-finished attempts. There is also a hidden cost people ignore: decision fatigue. Every choice drains energy. Too many decisions slow progress. That's why systems matter. They remove decisions. They protect energy. Energy is currency long before money is. As income stabilizes, the relationship with time changes. Hours are no longer traded directly for money. Value is. This shift is subtle but powerful. It's the moment effort stops being linear. Most people never reach this stage because they abandon systems too early. They quit during the boring phase. But boring is where stability is built. Another overlooked truth is that income grows faster when ego shrinks. Ego wants recognition. Systems want consistency. When you stop needing validation, progress accelerates. Online earning rewards humility. Feedback becomes data, not emotion. Mistakes become information, not identity. This mindset allows faster improvement with less stress. Many people delay starting because they fear being average, but average effort repeated consistently beats exceptional effort applied rarely. Excellence emerges from repetition, not talent. As weeks turn into months, something else happens. Fear loses its grip. Actions feel routine. Income becomes less emotional. This emotional neutrality is dangerous in a good way. It allows rational decisions. Rational decisions compound. The longer you stay consistent, the harder it becomes to stop. Momentum creates inertia. This is the opposite of motivation. Motivation fades, inertia sustains. Eventually, income stops feeling like a goal and starts feeling like a byproduct of habits, systems, and focus. At this stage, comparison disappears. Other people's success no longer threatens you. You're too busy maintaining your own momentum. This is where financial peace begins. Peace doesn't come from excess. It comes from predictability. Predictable systems reduce anxiety. Reduced anxiety improves health, relationships, and judgment. Money is deeply connected to mental health, whether people admit it or not. Financial instability amplifies stress. Stress clouds thinking. Clouded thinking creates poor outcomes. Stability reverses this cycle. Another shift occurs when you stop seeing setbacks as signs to quit. Setbacks become expected data points. No system works perfectly at first. Refinement is part of earning. Those who expect smooth progress quit early. Those who endure friction endure. Endurance is an underrated advantage. Over time, you learn to separate noise from signal. Trends fade. Fundamentals remain. Fundamentals always win. Clear value, consistent execution, patience over panic. These principles don't change with technology or platforms. The internet evolves, but human behavior doesn't. People still want clarity, safety, speed, and trust. Those who understand this don't chase novelty. They refine fundamentals. Refinement beats reinvention. As income becomes more reliable, the temptation to overexpand appears. More ideas, more risk, more complexity. This is where discipline matters most. Growth should be intentional, not reactive. Each expansion should strengthen stability, not threaten it. Long-term earners grow like engineers, not gamblers. They ask what breaks under pressure. They reinforce weak points before scaling. This mindset prevents collapse. Eventually, you realize that freedom isn't about escaping work. It's about choosing meaningful work. Meaning comes from control. Control comes from structure. Structure is built slowly. The path isn't glamorous. It's quiet, repetitive, and often lonely. But it works. And the longer you stay on it, the less appealing shortcuts become. Shortcuts promise speed, but deliver fragility. Fragility creates stress. Stress destroys progress. Strong systems feel boring, but last.
By this point, income no longer defines self-worth. It supports life instead of consuming it. That's the real transformation. Not becoming rich, but becoming stable, calm, and in control. And once that foundation exists, growth becomes natural. Not forced, not desperate, not emotional. Just steady, deliberate improvement. This is how people quietly build financial independence, not through luck, but through patience, clarity, and systems that outlast motivation. At some point, you stop measuring progress daily. Daily measurement creates noise. Real change happens weekly, monthly, yearly. People who watch numbers too closely react emotionally. People who step back see patterns. Patterns are where decisions improve. Another realization comes quietly. You don't need to be everywhere. You only need to be effective in one place. Scattered presence weakens impact. Focused presence builds trust. Trust is slow to earn and fast to lose. That's why consistency matters more than intensity. Many people confuse confidence with certainty. Certainty is rare. Confidence is acting without it. Those who wait for certainty never move. As income grows, fear changes shape. Early fear is about survival. Later fear is about loss. Both must be managed differently. Survival fear pushes action. Loss fear requires discipline. Without discipline, progress collapses. This is why many people earn once but can't sustain it. They never upgrade their mindset for the next stage. Each income level demands new behavior. What got you started won't keep you stable.
What made you stable won't make you scalable. Adaptation is continuous. The ability to sit with discomfort without reacting becomes valuable. Most mistakes come from emotional reactions. Calm creates space between thought and action. That space is where smart decisions live. Eventually, you stop seeking approval. You trust your own judgment. That trust speeds everything up. External validation slows progress. Internal standards accelerate it. The internet exaggerates extremes. Success looks instant. Failure looks final. Reality is quieter. Progress is rarely visible in the moment. It only makes sense in hindsight. That's why faith in the process matters, not blind faith, earned faith. Earned through repetition. As time passes, you realize money isn't the hardest part. Consistency is. Consistency requires designing life around progress, not forcing it. You don't rise to goals, you fall to systems. Strong systems carry you through low-energy days. This is when earning stops feeling heroic and starts feeling normal. Normal is powerful. Normal means sustainable. Sustainable means free from panic. Freedom isn't absence of work, it's absence of fear. Fear comes from dependency on unstable systems. Stability removes fear. The final shift happens when you stop asking what's next and start asking what's essential. Essential actions stay. Everything else goes. Simplicity sharpens focus. Focus multiplies results. At this stage, time becomes more valuable than money. Money supports time, not the other way around. Decisions become long-term by default. Short-term thinking fades. You stop reacting to noise. You stop chasing urgency. You stop comparing paths. Your path becomes clear because you're walking it. This is where quiet confidence forms. Not loud, not visible, but unshakable. It comes from knowing you can rebuild if needed. Skills, systems, and discipline stay with you. Money becomes replaceable. Capability doesn't. That's real security. And once security exists, growth feels optional, not desperate. You choose to grow because you want to, not because you must. That choice changes everything. This is the difference between chasing income and owning a financial system. One is stressful, the other is stable. And stability is the foundation of all meaningful growth. There's a moment when you realize that speed was never the advantage. Clarity was. Speed without clarity only creates motion, not progress. Most people rush because they feel late. That feeling comes from comparison, not reality. Everyone's timeline is different, even if the internet pretends otherwise. Once you stop racing invisible competitors, your thinking slows down in a good way. Slower thinking leads to fewer mistakes. Fewer mistakes protect momentum. Momentum is fragile at the beginning. It needs protection more than pressure. Early progress should be guarded quietly. Too much exposure too soon invites doubt, opinions, and distraction. Silence is underrated. As consistency continues, your understanding of value deepens. You stop asking what people will pay for and start asking what people repeatedly need. Repetition signals demand. Demand sustains income. One-time wins feel exciting. Repeatable systems create stability. This is where patience becomes strategic, not passive. Another subtle shift happens when you stop trying to convince and start trying to understand. Understanding the problem deeply makes selling unnecessary. Solutions speak for themselves when they fit well. Good solutions reduce resistance. Less resistance means smoother income. Smooth systems outperform aggressive ones long term. Aggression burns energy. Smoothness preserves it. Energy preservation is critical for long-term earning. Burnout doesn't come from work, it comes from friction without progress. When progress is visible, effort feels lighter. This is why tracking meaningful indicators matters. Not vanity numbers, signals that reflect real improvement. Improvement compounds faster than motivation. Over time, you develop patience for delayed rewards. That patience separates those who build from those who chase. Chasers look busy. Builders look calm. Calm is not laziness, it's confidence in the process. Confidence grows when outcomes become predictable. Predictability reduces emotional swings. Better judgment improves income quality. Quality income matters more than quantity. It lasts longer. It stresses less. It supports life instead of dominating it. Eventually, you stop trying to optimize everything. Optimization comes later. First comes reliability. Reliable systems survive mistakes. Mistakes stop feeling personal, they become operational. This emotional distance is powerful. It prevents self-sabotage. Most people don't fail because of lack of ability. They fail because they attach identity to outcomes. Detach identity, and learning accelerates. Learning accelerates growth. Confidence strengthens confidence. Confidence stabilizes action.
action compounds results. This loop sustains itself once established. At this point, discipline feels less like effort and more like alignment. You act because it fits who you've become. Identity drives behavior more than goals ever will. When identity shifts from trying to building, consistency becomes natural. Natural consistency outlasts forced discipline. Outlasting others is often enough. You don't need to win fast, you need to stay longer. Time is the unfair advantage available to anyone willing to endure. Endurance beats brilliance when brilliance is inconsistent. Consistency beats talent when talent is unfocused. Focus beats ambition when ambition lacks structure. Structure beats chaos every time. Chaos feels exciting, but produces fragile outcomes. Structure feels boring, but creates freedom. Freedom doesn't announce itself. It quietly shows up as reduced stress, clearer thinking, and better sleep. Those signs matter more than numbers on a screen. Money should reduce pressure, not increase it. If earning increases stress, something is wrong with the system. Healthy systems feel calm even when growing. Growth doesn't need to be dramatic to be real. Real growth is subtle until it isn't. By the time others notice, the foundation is already built. That's the advantage of working quietly. No noise, no rush, just steady progress stacking day after day. This is how financial independence actually forms, not as a breakthrough moment, but as a slow accumulation of good decisions made consistently over time. And once you understand this, the anxiety fades. Because you're no longer chasing hope, you're executing a process. And processes, when respected, deliver.
The most powerful realization comes when you see that effort alone is meaningless without structure. Working harder does not automatically lead to better results. Working smarter, consistently, within systems compounds silently over time. Most people don't understand the invisible multiplier of compounding. It isn't only about money, it's about decisions, habits, and momentum. One good choice repeated daily will outperform 10 brilliant choices made sporadically. Early wins can feel insignificant. That's the trap. Small actions don't excite the ego, so people quit, but these small actions quietly build the scaffolding for massive results. Every system you build today pays dividends tomorrow. Every habit you master today compounds exponentially. Every moment you tolerate boredom, frustration, or uncertainty increases your endurance for real success. Endurance is the rarest skill. Most people are impatient. They want instant gratification. They quit before momentum ever begins. The market doesn't reward hustle. It rewards predictable, reliable output. It doesn't care about how motivated you feel. It only cares about what you deliver, consistently, over time. There's a psychological shift that happens when income becomes predictable. You stop panicking about every fluctuation. You stop chasing every trend. You stop letting external chaos control your mind. Clarity replaces anxiety. Decision-making becomes sharper. Actions become deliberate. Deliberate actions compound faster than frantic ones. Most people underestimate how much mental clarity affects earning potential. A calm, focused mind makes better choices. Better choices create leverage. Leverage multiplies results without additional effort. At first, this process is invisible. It feels like nothing is happening. That's normal. Invisible work is the foundation of visible results. People quit during invisible phases. Those who endure see results appear suddenly, almost like magic.
But it's not magic, it's cumulative effort, patience, and compounding systems. Online earning magnifies these dynamics. Small actions repeated consistently online create exponential results. The same principles apply offline, but the scale is accelerated digitally. The quiet nature of this work is why most fail. They are not patient enough to survive the boring early phase. They are too reactive to setbacks. They are too emotional to handle slow progress. Those who survive this early phase begin to notice a subtle shift in identity. They are no longer trying to make money, they are becoming builders. Their daily actions align with their long-term vision automatically. Once identity aligns with action, consistency is no longer forced, it becomes natural. Natural consistency is stronger than any motivation you can conjure. At this stage, the value of money transforms in your mind. It is no longer a goal, it becomes a tool for choice, freedom, and growth. Earning transforms from desperation into ownership. The people who master this mindset don't need hype or tricks. They don't chase trends. They refine fundamentals. They remove friction. They reduce risk. And the quiet confidence that comes from this approach is unstoppable. They make fewer mistakes. They recover faster. They see opportunities others miss. Most importantly, they stop fearing failure. They understand that mistakes are not signs of weakness. They are information, feedback, and stepping stones. Fear no longer dictates decisions. Control does, structure does, systems do. Eventually, income is no longer about survival or status. It's about stability, options, and choice. And that freedom, the ability to direct your own life, is what most people secretly desire more than money itself. This understanding changes everything. It changes priorities, it changes behavior, it changes patience, it changes how you see opportunities. You begin to think in long-term cycles, not short-term bursts. You prioritize durability over intensity. You build systems that work even when you aren't actively watching them. And here's the quiet secret that most people never understand. You don't need to be extraordinary. You don't need luck. You don't need permission. You only need time, consistency, patience, and a system that delivers value. Those four elements, applied relentlessly, create financial independence, online or offline. Everything else, motivation, hype, trends, shortcuts, is secondary. Those are distractions that make the journey seem chaotic when it is actually simple. Once this mindset takes root, the relationship with money becomes healthy. Money is no longer anxiety, it is clarity, it is control, it is freedom. And that freedom becomes the foundation for everything else. More time, better choices, less stress, and the ability to build without pressure. Every action from here on compounds. Every habit grows stronger. Every system becomes more resilient. Every decision becomes sharper. Those who persist quietly end up in a position most people dream about but few achieve. It is not flashy, it is not loud, it is stable, predictable, and powerful. This is the ultimate truth about finance and earning online. Consistency, patience, clarity, and systems outweigh intelligence, motivation, and luck. Once you internalize this, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing quick wins. You stop reacting to hype. You stop worrying about what others are doing. Your world contracts in a good way. It focuses on what matters, actions that produce results over time. People around you may still chase shortcuts, chase trends, chase hype. You observe them, but you don't join. You understand that their results will fluctuate. Yours will accumulate. There's a subtle shift in psychology here. You begin to measure success differently, not by instant feedback or approval, but by the durability of progress. Durable systems outperform flashy results. Durable skills outperform temporary talent. Durable income outlasts volatile earnings. And the quiet truth is this: most people never understand durability. They mistake noise for progress, excitement for skill, hype for insight. But those who stick with fundamentals, who master patience, who embrace slow compounding, quietly leave them behind. This journey also reshapes your relationship with risk. Early on, fear dominates every decision. You hesitate, overanalyze, and sometimes freeze. Later, when systems are built and habits are formed, risk becomes calculated. You no longer react emotionally. You anticipate, plan, and act with precision. Calculated risk is not reckless, it is opportunity leveraged wisely. The market rewards those who move calmly and deliberately. Another transformation occurs in your perception of time. At first, time feels scarce. Every minute must be spent earning, learning, or hustling. Later, you realize that the real advantage comes from compounding effort over long stretches, not frantic, short bursts. Time becomes a tool, not a liability. You can pause, reflect, adjust, and return stronger. Early failures, setbacks, and mistakes no longer feel catastrophic. They are data points, lessons built into the system. Each setback strengthens the foundation. Most people quit before they reach this stage because they expect results immediately. They want instant feedback, they want applause, they want certainty. But certainty never arrives before action. Action creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence sustains momentum. The same principle applies online earning. Platforms, algorithms, and trends are constantly changing, but human behavior doesn't. People will always want clarity, trust, efficiency, and solutions to problems. Once you master providing those consistently, income flows, and it compounds quietly over time. This is where the real mental edge appears. You no longer fear failure. You no longer overreact to fluctuations. You no longer chase validation. Instead, you act deliberately, calmly, consistently. And over time, those actions accumulate, not in bursts, not in dramatic leaps, but steadily, invisibly, relentlessly. Most people never notice the invisible work. They only see the results later, and by that time, the builders have quietly pulled far ahead. The market always rewards those who endure longer than others, those who tolerate boredom, those who tolerate uncertainty, those who tolerate discomfort without quitting. This is why patience and persistence are far more valuable than intelligence or talent. The first step is to embrace discomfort. The second step is to commit to systems. The third step is to continue when it feels pointless. The fourth step is to trust compounding. Step by step, day by day, decision by decision, wealth builds quietly. And the freedom that it creates, mental, emotional, and financial, is unmatched. Eventually, you stop thinking about money constantly. You stop obsessing over outcomes. You stop reacting emotionally to every fluctuation. Money becomes a tool for choice, a tool for freedom, a tool that serves your life instead of controlling it. And once you reach this stage,
You understand the final truth. You don't need luck. You don't need approval. You don't need to be extraordinary. You only need time, systems, patience, and consistency. Everything else is secondary. Everything else is distraction. Everything else is noise. And those who follow this path quietly, without hype or shortcuts, eventually achieve what most dream about, but few ever reach: real, sustainable financial freedom. Once you accept that real progress is invisible at first, everything changes. The panic that comes from waiting for instant results begins to fade. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop expecting dramatic breakthroughs. Instead, you focus on the small, daily actions that compound quietly over time. You focus on consistency, on repetition, on doing the right thing even when it feels boring or pointless. That is the quiet power of online earning. Not flashy techniques, not trending hacks, not overnight success. Just steady, deliberate, compounding action. The moment most people quit is when results are smallest. That moment is also when your momentum is forming. The invisible work you do today becomes visible rewards tomorrow, but only if you persist. The people who succeed are not luckier than you. They are not more talented. They simply stayed longer. They tolerated discomfort. They ignored the noise. They let compounding work quietly in their favor. Another shift occurs as your systems mature. You begin to see opportunities others miss. You spot inefficiencies. You recognize patterns. And every small adjustment you make now has multiplied impact. This is leverage in its purest form. Leverage allows small, focused effort to produce outsized results. Leverage turns ordinary action into extraordinary outcomes. Most people ignore leverage. They keep doing more work instead of smarter work. They fail to see that the market rewards leverage, not effort. And yet, leverage is simple. It comes from systems, processes, skills, and consistency. It does not require genius. It does not require luck. The rarest skill is patience, the ability to endure day after day without immediate reward, the ability to keep building systems when no one is watching, the ability to trust the process and the compounding effect of small actions. Those who develop this patience eventually reach a stage where money feels predictable. They no longer panic over fluctuations. They no longer chase trends. They no longer feel like they are at the mercy of external forces. Predictable income creates calm. Calm creates better decisions. Better decisions create more leverage. Leverage creates more predictable income. This virtuous cycle is what separates sustainable earners from temporary hustlers. At some point, you also begin to understand the true value of risk. Early on, fear dominates every decision. Every setback feels catastrophic. Every choice feels like a life or death gamble. Later, risk becomes measured. You anticipate outcomes. You plan contingencies. You act strategically instead of emotionally. The person who understands risk does not avoid it. They embrace it in controlled ways. They use it to create growth without jeopardizing stability. Most people fail because they react emotionally to risk. They quit too early. They invest poorly. They chase the illusion of safety while missing real opportunity. Meanwhile, those who build systems, tolerate discomfort, and act consistently thrive. Another shift is in your perception of time. Early on, time feels scarce. Every moment is pressure. Every hour is critical. Later, time becomes your ally. You understand the value of compounding, patience, and strategic pacing. You don't rush. You don't panic. You move deliberately. This control over time is as valuable as money itself. It allows better decisions. It allows focused effort. It allows a life built around freedom instead of fear. Eventually, financial stress fades. Decisions feel lighter. Opportunities become clearer. And life becomes sustainable, predictable, and quiet in a way that feels powerful. Most people never reach this stage because they expect results before they have built systems. They chase hype. They chase speed. They chase validation. The reality is simple. Systems and patience beat speed and hype every time. Once this mindset is internalized, the work itself transforms. You no longer act out of fear or desperation. You act because it aligns with your systems. You act because it fits your identity as someone who builds value and income reliably. Your actions become deliberate. Your decisions become sharper. Your results compound silently. And the people who stayed patient and consistent pull far ahead of those who rushed and quit.
This is the essence of online earning. Not flashy success stories, not overnight hacks, not luck or genius. Just persistence, systems, patience, and clarity. And once you master these, money becomes a tool that gives options, a tool that creates freedom, a tool that supports life rather than dominates it. And that freedom, the mental, emotional, and financial freedom, changes everything. It allows growth without panic. It allows decisions without fear. It allows living without stress. This is the quiet truth about building sustainable income online. Consistency beats brilliance. Systems beat effort. Patience beats urgency. Structure beats chaos. Those who embrace this quietly, deliberately, and consistently achieve real financial independence. Over time, you notice another subtle transformation. Your relationship with setbacks changes. Early in the journey, mistakes feel like failure. They trigger panic, self-doubt, and frustration. Every small error feels like a catastrophe. Later, mistakes become signals. They are data points. They are feedback to refine your systems, not reasons to quit. You begin to anticipate setbacks and embrace them as part of the process. This shift in perception is what allows compounding to work. Without it, progress halts at the first challenge. With it, every obstacle becomes an opportunity to strengthen your foundation. The people who succeed are not faster or smarter. They are patient, deliberate, and resilient. They understand that early discomfort is temporary. They know that momentum builds quietly, invisibly, and only shows results later. But most people never see this phase because they expect excitement, instant reward, or validation. They chase trends and hype while ignoring the fundamentals. They quit when the work feels boring, slow, or invisible. But it is in this invisible, unglamorous work that real income is born. It is where habits solidify, systems strengthen, and momentum compounds. Online earning is the perfect example of this principle. Small, consistent actions repeated over months or years create results that appear almost magical to outsiders. But the magic is only visible once compounding has done its work. The next transformation comes in your mindset around money itself. Early on, money feels urgent. Every fluctuation causes anxiety. Every delay feels threatening. Later, money becomes a tool, not a source of panic. It becomes predictable. It becomes manageable. It becomes a means to an end rather than the end itself. With predictability comes freedom. Freedom to make choices without fear. Freedom to take calculated risks without panic. Freedom to act strategically rather than react emotionally. This is the hidden advantage that most people never understand. Most chase the numbers without building the systems. Most chase excitement without building resilience. Those who endure quietly, patiently, and deliberately gain control. They see opportunities others ignore. They make fewer mistakes. They act with calm precision. And as your systems mature, your focus shifts again. You no longer chase every new opportunity. You no longer attempt to do everything at once. You focus on what works, repeatedly, reliably, and systematically. This focus is invisible to the outside world, but incredibly powerful. It prevents burnout. It prevents mistakes. It compounds results over time. At this point, income flows predictably.
Stress diminishes. Time becomes yours. Choices multiply. And the quiet truth emerges. The journey is not about speed, hype, or shortcuts. It is about enduring, building, and trusting compounding systems. Everything else, motivation, trends, luck, flashy success stories, is secondary.
Everything else is noise. Once this mindset is internalized, financial freedom becomes natural. Emotional freedom follows. Mental freedom follows. And with that freedom comes control. Control over your decisions, your outcomes, and your life. This control is the ultimate reward of consistent, system-driven online earning. It is invisible to outsiders, but it is more valuable than any flashy achievement. You stop chasing approval. You stop fearing failure. You stop reacting emotionally. You begin to act strategically, deliberately, and consistently. This is the difference between temporary success and sustainable financial independence. Those who embrace it quietly, patiently, and deliberately achieve the ultimate goal: a life where money supports freedom, decisions are calm, and progress compounds quietly over time. And that, ultimately, is the real secret of building wealth online. Not speed, not luck, not genius, but time, systems, patience, clarity, and consistency. Embrace discomfort. Trust compounding. Because the moment you internalize this truth, your earning, your freedom, and your life will change forever. And remember, the path is simple but rarely followed. It is quiet, it is deliberate, and it is unstoppable for those who commit. Consistency, patience, systems, clarity, compounding. Master these, and financial freedom is not a dream, it is inevitable. And now, as we reach the culmination of everything we've explored, it's time to anchor a single, unshakable truth. Financial freedom, online earning, and wealth are not built in moments of hype, brilliance, or luck. They are built quietly, deliberately, invisibly, over months and years of consistent, focused action. The truth most people never see is that the journey is not flashy. It is repetitive, it is boring, it is invisible at first. And that is precisely why it works. Every small decision you make compounds. Every repeated habit stacks upon the last. Every system you refine strengthens the foundation beneath you. And though the progress may feel invisible today, the results tomorrow will be unstoppable. Those who quit early, who chase excitement, who react emotionally to fear or failure, will never experience the compounding magic of patience. They mistake motion for progress. They confuse hype for strategy. They trade stability for temporary thrill. But the person who endures, the person who builds quietly, the person who trusts compounding, they rise without fanfare. They accumulate advantage silently. They create momentum that carries them far beyond those who chase instant gratification. At first, you may doubt yourself. You may feel small. You may feel like nothing is happening. This is normal. This is the filter that separates builders from quitters. Discomfort is not your enemy. Patience is not your weakness. Repetition is not boring. It is your most powerful weapon. Once you embrace discomfort, once you trust the system, once you repeat the small actions that others ignore, a transformation occurs. Your mindset changes. Your perception of money changes. Your relationship with risk changes. Your perception of time changes. Fear loses its grip. Panic fades. You begin to act calmly, deliberately, and strategically. Mistakes become lessons. Failures become feedback. Setbacks become stepping stones. At this stage, income is no longer the goal. It is a byproduct, a natural outcome of systems, habits, and relentless, consistent effort. And once income is predictable, freedom emerges. The freedom to make choices, the freedom to act without fear, the freedom to scale, grow, and live life on your own terms. This is the invisible power few ever experience. the ability to endure when others panic, the ability to act when others hesitate, the ability to trust the process when others chase shortcuts. The ultimate advantage is not speed, it is not intelligence, it is not luck. It is patience, consistency, clarity, and unshakable systems. The journey will test you, it will push you, it will tempt you to quit, it will challenge your resolve every single day. And that is the point. The process is the filter, the discomfort is the training, the repeated action is the forge that shapes winners. Once you master this, you no longer chase money. You no longer chase validation. You no longer fear failure. You act instinctively, decisively, and powerfully. Your systems move you forward even when motivation fades. Your habits compound when energy is low. Your choices align automatically with long-term success. At this stage, you become untouchable. Not because you are extraordinary, not because you are lucky, but because your discipline, your patience, and your consistency have created an unstoppable momentum that carries you forward every day. And the final truth, the ultimate instinct you must remember is this: wealth is not about speed. It is not about shortcuts. It is not about moments of brilliance. It is about the silent, relentless accumulation of small, intelligent actions repeated daily with clarity, patience, and trust in the system you build. Everything else, hype, comparison, panic, fear, is noise. Ignore it. Focus on your systems. Focus on your habits. Focus on your compounding actions. Do this consistently. Endure through discomfort. Refine your systems. Trust your process. Repeat daily. And over time, income will flow. Freedom will follow. Control will solidify. And life, once chaotic and uncertain, will become predictable, stable, and powerful. This is the ultimate instinct of the long-term earner: to act when others hesitate, to endure when others quit, to focus when others panic, to trust the invisible compounding of systems, patience, and deliberate action. Embrace it, live it, repeat it. Because those who master this instinct will achieve not just financial independence, but freedom, confidence, and a life built on control, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. And that, in the end, is the truth that most people will never discover, but those who do will create a life beyond imagination.